Podtrak P4 from Zoom. A lot of features packed into a relatively small recorder. I'm going to try to stick with that theme and get through a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. We're going to go fast. Okay, first impressions of the P4. Is it a little odd looking? Yeah, I'd say so. Looks a little funky, but it performs a lot better than it looks. Looking around the side, you have a full SD card, so it makes it very easy not to have to use an adapter. And then next to that, we have two USB-C plugs, which everyone loves USB-C. One for a USB battery brick, and if you wanted to run all day, you could go to a plug and run off of the wall. And then a USB-C connection to the computer, so you can use this as an interface. And the cool thing is this can be a recorder at the same time that it's an interface. If you are connected via the USB to the computer, that will also bus power, so you don't need any additional power. You get it from the computer. And when you are going to computer, one downside might be that this is only going to record a stereo mix, not the individual channels. However, because it does record to the SD card while it's also an audio interface, you can do your separate channels to the SD card as well as send a mix to the computer for recording. And maybe because of the price point or because it's targeted to podcasters and they think it's all we need, 44.1 16-bit is the only option. That may be a downside for you. For me, in an audio-only podcast setup, it's not a big deal. It's going to sound fantastic. On the bottom, we have 4 separate headphone outputs, 4 separate headphone amplifiers so that everyone has control over their own volume. All the channels have an option for phantom power. The phantom power is selectable per channel. So if you only need 1 or 2 channels with phantom power, a lot of mixers, it's a push of a button and it goes to all channels. This, you get to select which channel you want the phantom power to go to, which could help with battery life and using different types of microphones. Each of the mic inputs also has its own individual mute button, and you might hear me clicking through those. Ideally, these wouldn't make a click sound because that could get in your audio when you're recording and you want to mute. You could hear a click in the background. A soft push button here would have been nice. And with 4 XLR inputs comes 4 individual channels of audio. So this is great because you're going to get separated tracks that you can use in post-production, but you'll also get a recorded mix if you were just going to go out to a finished podcast, bringing in soundboards or just recording a mix of you and whoever else is plugged in or just yourself. And you noticed long boot up times, but pretty much like any other Zoom recorder I've used, they're slow to load up. And another fantastic option for podcasters especially is the option to go... Oops, what just happened? That sucked. All right, that was actually a very helpful coincidence there. The battery ran out, and one of the questions I had is if the battery does run out, because there is only 2 batteries, 2 AA batteries, what happens to the recording? Do you lose it? I pulled out a battery, and you lose the recording if you just take it out all of a sudden. But if you saw there, it kind of said goodbye. So it shut down. It made sure to save the file that we were on, and then it shut off. The bottom line is I would not rely on the AA's only unless you know you have full batteries or at least 2 bars and you keep an eye on it. Because it's not uncommon for a podcast to be an hour long, and I would not rely on the batteries inside of it to last you long enough. I would choose to run with the USB-C battery brick where you don't have to worry about it. Something else I'm not seeing immediately is card space. So like a battery, there was no indicator that told me I was about to lose battery. It just went away. I also do not see an indicator that's telling me how much time I have left on my SD card, which also would stop your recording if you ran out of space on your SD card. So obviously with the audio, it's not too hard to have even a 16 gigabyte card or 32 gigabyte card, which are cheap, and you'll have plenty of space even for all of the tracks that it records, as long as you make sure that your card has plenty of space when you start the recording. Another thing I would have liked to seen on the back would have been a 1/4-20 screw hole somewhere around here so that I could attach this to a small tripod, which allows me to mount it somewhere securely, but also kind of see the screen better than when it's flat on the desk. The build is all plastic at $199. It's not surprising, especially since there are so many features inside the device. Typically, it's going to be something that lives on a desk. Certainly, this is a travel-friendly device, and as long as you are relatively careful with it, I don't think you'll have an issue. One of the many features it has, but especially catering, I think, to podcasters, is on this third channel, the ability to plug in your smartphone. So this third channel, obviously you're going to lose one of your XLR inputs. You would have to have less than 4 XLR microphones in order to use this channel for the phone, but you'd switch it to phone, and you could plug in a phone with a 3.5 millimeter jack, likely adapted from Lightning or USB-C, or there's an optional Bluetooth adapter you can plug in here that you have to buy separately that would allow you to connect via Bluetooth. I preferred hardwired anyways because I tend to find that the audio is better than over Bluetooth. Very important to note, if you are going to record this way, you're going to need a special cable that does not come with it. It's a TRRS to TRRS. You'll see the 3 black rings there. That allows the audio to go out of your phone and then back in all through the same input output. And these are a dime a dozen online. I just bought a cheap one. I'll link it in the description. Lav microphone, USB lav microphone, this right here, which is hard to see on a black t-shirt, but the power button being flush with the device itself, it's flat. I really like this because you're not going to accidentally turn the power off or turn it on if it's in your bag. The XLR inputs are not lockable, but they fit in quite snugly. I'm not worried about them coming out. And then if you're going to use this as an audio interface and you want to record the USB channel, that would go on this 4th channel here. You would select USB, and now you're recording USB input from the computer onto channel 4. Unlike the sound pads here, which actually have their own channel, if I play one here, you can see that's being recorded on its own sound pad channel, separate from your 4 microphone inputs. But not to be confused with separate channels for each sound pad. Whichever sound pad you click is going to be recorded on the same sound pad channel. So for example, you can't roll in music and then something over the top of that. Essentially, you can't use 2 of these at the same time. The sound pad also has its own volume control, so you can select how loud you want any one of these sound effects coming in at any given time. And again, for podcasters, this is really cool because it has a Mixminus option in here, which means the person that is coming in from the computer will be recorded on channel 4, and they will hear your microphone and anyone else that is plugged into the Zoom. So whether that's another person in the room with you or even a person on the remote call, those 2 people will hear each other without hearing themselves looped back to them. So that's the Mixminus option, which is traditionally a much more difficult setup with aux-ins and more cables and various routing. Now you just enable it in the menu and you'll have a Mixminus automatically built in to the P4. And always most important to me is the preamp itself. How does it sound? These have great preamps. Amazingly, this goes up to 70 dB of gain. And when you go up that high, it is noisy. When I see a recorder has a high amount of gain, what I'm hoping is that it's going to boost any dynamic microphone to a clean level. So not using it full, but that 60 and 70% of the preamp is cleaner than if it only had 50 dB and you had to crank it all the way. So with these samples, you can hear and see that the preamp up all the way is going to create considerable noise. But the good news is, with most dynamic microphones, like the E835, even the PR40, an SM58, ATR 2100, those are going to work in the 5 to 7 range. Now I find that when you get around 7, that's when you introduce some noise. And the SM7B, the most gain hungry of my microphones, and one of the most gain hungry microphones, is going to need to be around 7. And I feel like you're going to have to do a little bit of post-production noise removal if you want it to be completely clean. So if you're going SM7B to the P4, it might not be as clean as you want. That said, I recorded with the SM7B. I only had to do very light touch noise removal and it sounded fantastic. You can see when I plug in the battery pack, it actually switches from internal battery over to the USB-C battery pack, which is also very handy. If you're running low, which I actually was, I could transfer the power over to here without interruption to my recording. And then again, if your battery pack was to run out, it would roll over to the battery and you wouldn't have lost your recording. All right, having 4 headphone outputs is nice, but one thing I was concerned about is that when you have several people plugged in here, when people turn their heads, it's going to move the recorder around. However, it feels as if they've put some type of weight here in the bottom to help prevent that, which is really a nice detail. And it has rubberized feet down here at the bottom and the top, so hopefully that won't be much of an issue. When you turn the limiter on, which I have on now, it's not affecting the gain. Sometimes I feel like limiters can attenuate the signal a little bit. It's not affecting the gain. And in fact, this is a digital limiter after the analog to digital conversion, and yet it still is working really well. So better limiters in this P4 than you typically get in these more affordable, lower grade audio recorders. The screen is really small, but I can definitely see my levels okay, but it's going to be limited information that you get on there. It would be nice to know that the limiters are on if you could see that on the channel. As well, when the phantom power is on, you don't get any indication of that. Usually you would get some type of red light. We don't have that here. Not a huge deal, it's just these are some of the things that they're going to leave out on a lower grade recorder. Doesn't affect the capabilities this thing does so much. All right, that's the Podtrak P4. I borrowed this from B&H. Thanks for sending that out. I'll send it back to you. If you're a podcaster that just needs a recorder and you have multiple people on your podcast, this is probably a good option for you. I like that the preamps are clean, up to almost 7 on the gain, 70%. Sound pads are cool. It's not something that I generally use much of, but this could allow you to record a podcast start to finish. You should do a little post-production on that in terms of leveling everything out and then making it to a loudness standard so that you have the best experience for your audience. Of course, then you need to turn that into MP3. But if you wanted to press record, roll in some intro and outro with the sound pads, you could do that, or play a clip that you preload into there. You could do that and then essentially be done with little to no editing, some post-processing, but maybe not much editing, and then move on to your next one after you upload. So that could make it easier to produce a podcast. Almost $200, small device, runs most dynamic microphones cleanly. That's a bargain and making it pretty easy to record a podcast. I personally love working with a recorder more than going into software because it eliminates the computer. Computers can make noise, extra things can go wrong, and it's just simple. Mic direct to recorder, record, be done. And of course, I'm going to do post-production on the computer, but this part of the process, this part of the production, easy. You probably have questions about the P4. Hopefully I answered some of those that you haven't seen before, but leave those in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as possible, and I'll see you next time.